We can talk about the political heavyweight that is Sargon of Akkad. He has joined UKIP along with Count Dankula. I believe Paul Joseph Watson joined them as well. They're claiming that thousands have joined along with them. Here's a write-up from RT, which is, of course, a Russian outlet. They say Count Dankula and British alt-righters join UKIP in order to spite anti-racist campaigners. Of course, the hilarious part of that headline is that they're calling these people alt-right, although they've all spent a vast amount of energy and effort to distance themselves from the alt-right and even trash the alt-right.
Yes. All for naught.
Yeah, all for naught. You will be described as alt-right regardless. Let me read a little bit of this article. A number of prominent alt-right figures and YouTube comedians claim to have joined British political party UKIP ostensibly to spite anti-racist campaigners who succeeded in getting them deplatformed. The charge was led by Scottish YouTuber Count Dankula, Mark Meechan is his real name, who last Friday tweeted he would join the right-wing Eurosceptic party if he received 10,000 retweets. I'm not joking, this is not a meme, I'm being completely serious. By Saturday, the retweets broke the required ceiling with the Count, I love how they call him the Count, immediately starting to post videos in support of UKIP with a video entitled UKIP Needs You. Other online figures, including many from the so-called alt-right, have apparently followed suit, including an editor at conspiracy news site InfoWars, Paul Joseph Watson, and YouTuber Carl Benjamin, more commonly known by his alias, Sargon of Akkad. The move has delighted some members of the party who have seen their support tank since the UK opted to leave the EU in 2016. Let me scroll down a little bit more. They quote.
Well, let me jump in this.
Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
kind
Just go ahead and jump in. Yeah.
Count Dankula, he bashes the alt-right or whatever. I saw his YouTube or Twitter video. I think I retweeted it actually, where he was talking about becoming a member of UKIP, and he literally referenced a Murdoch video where someone handed him a bag of shekels. There was a very funny Murdoch yes. Video where someone says, "A shekel for a good goy," and he was referencing this like again Murdoch they're totally outlandish alt-right humor, the id of the alt-right kind of, and so he was referencing all of that kind of stuff, and so I don't know, I mean I can't I don't see this as a negative phenomenon. The UKIP was basically ruined by its success. I mean, there were many nationalist energies within Britain in my lifetime in the 2000s. I mean, Nick Griffin and the BNP were actually going places. They were going to the European Parliament and so on. Now, Nick Griffin, again, he's accused of extreme nepotism and a little bit of corruption here and there and so on. I mean, I don't really know the whole deal, but UKIP flamed out. There was a lot of infighting, and people turned Nick Griffin into an enemy. And then UKIP, conveniently came on the scene and basically soaked up all of those nationalist energies. And so, but the problem with UKIP is that the BNP, whatever its faults might be, was a nationalist party, and Nick Griffin spoke at an American Renaissance conference. I mean, Nick Griffin was, is alt-right. I mean, he's a racialist. He's very, very serious about these issues. I know Jonathan Bowden, a man I had collaborated with, he was a member of the BNP for a time. He actually got pushed out by, interestingly. I'm not exactly a Griffin, partisan, to say the least. But anyway, so you had this amazing thing. Then you have UKIP and you have Nigel Farage and this intense myopic focus on the EU. We need to get out of the EU. We need to get out of the EU. Well, they achieved Brexit and the party collapsed. And it was ruined by its success. It was singularly focused.
It was a one-issue party, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and you win and you're done. And it's actually a really important lesson that we should not have a one-issue party. For that precise reason, it does need to be a broad party with a platform. And I have been convinced by Craig Conte, among other people, that we do ultimately need a party that's ours. But anyway, I mean, if Count Dankula is going to go there, and even Sargon, I mean, whatever you want to say about these guys, they at least they're in contact with us. Like they're not. There's at least a chance that the alt-right energies can enter that party.
But you know what's funny is when this whole liberalist thing started, of course I was laughing at it, making fun, because it was cringy. Sure. But one of my main criticisms was, why don't you try to join an existing political party? Because it's so hard to build your own party. Even billionaires, people with all kinds of, political capital and connections, they would have a hard time starting their own party up out of scratch. So that's just kind of an insanity. And one of my things was, well, why don't you just join another party and try to take it over? Now, my idea was more of the Conservative Party, although now that I think about it, it would probably be easier to take over, a collapsed, rotting husk of a party like UKIP, because they're already, collapsed in support. So maybe you can...
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, from that perspective, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. That I don't know that I trust the political instincts of Carl Benjamin, but...
well, I mean, look... Yeah, I mean, I think all of us are the same. But again, I think this might be a kind of positive thing. I'm not passing any judgment. And I think it's better than Farage. I've never been sold on Farage. I just it's this, again, this single-mindedness and a kind of false nationalism of we need to get out of the EU as the end all and be all of what it means to be British. And I've always been skeptical of him. He seemed to, a lot of people who supported Brexit, who weren't necessarily in UKIP, were these just wild globalist libertarians who, oh, thank God we're out of Europe. Now we can go, link up with India. And so, I mean, it was, people like Daniel Hannan and so on. So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting that UKIP, it won and then it died, and it's being reborn as the, ironic YouTube right-wing comedian party or something. I mean, is that a bad outcome? I don't think so.
By the way, somebody in chat said, what does that mean? It's okay to subvert? I'm not passing judgment saying it's good or bad. I mean, I think Sargon's pretty much a joke at this point. But I'm just saying that that's a smarter play than trying to start your own party up out of scratch, because that's almost impossible.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't even know if it's totally subverting it. They do share some, similarities. Also, the reasoning is a lot of the voter rolls and the records and the structure still, they should be in place still, right? If they can get access to any of that stuff, I mean, that's huge, because they did win the referendum, and basically the referendum was on immigration almost entirely, as well as some trade stuff, but immigration was the biggest moving factor of why they wanted to leave the EU. And, Sargon has... Even
though leaving the EU didn't affect the immigration policy. It did. I'm sorry, this is like my long...
No, you're right.
Horse, Spencer. I mean, it's like... The EU, well, okay, the refugee crisis changed things. And so things might be different going forward. I will grant all of my critics that. But like all of these Pakistanis and so on who have entered the country did so through Britain. Like they did not enter through Brussels. And so, but I agree. The Brexit referendum was totally about, immigration and racial angst. No question.
And you could, leverage that into some things that they want to do as liberalists. It's a big... the liberalists themselves, it's not a ginormous... They said they have 10,000 people that joined. That might be stretching the truth a little bit, in my opinion. I don't know if 10,000 people actually joined overnight, but...
What does it mean to join, even?
Yeah, you just, how you join the Republican Party, you check a box, I guess it means like
right.
That. So that's what I mean. But you dramatically increase your base of people that you can, talk to and influence, especially if they have those voter rolls, the records, and things of that nature, because they did win that election, that referendum. That's a huge amount of people.